All right, so we're back at it again. This is going to be a very controversial episode. We're doing chicken strips, and there's a lot of these videos too, right? We have chicken marinating in buttermilk, which we'll talk about in a second, and typically it goes into flour, sometimes with 11 herbs and seasonings, sometimes into panko crumbs, and we thought about doing that, but that just seems kind of boring. So we're actually going to use 4 different kinds of breading, not flour, not panko crumbs. Doritos, specifically spicy sweet chili Doritos.
No, I'm just getting warmed up.
Cocoa Puffs, Goldfish, Captain Crunch. Now, they're not sponsors, but in case they ever end up as sponsors, Cocoa Puffs, Captain Crunch, Goldfish. All right, we have never done any of these before. When we've done chicken strips, we've gone with the panko crumbs and the flour. We know how that tastes. We have no idea how this tastes. If it's terrible, it could be a short video. If it's good, it might be a good video. So here's the basics of it. We're not going to show every step because we have a lot of chicken frying to do. But here's the basics of it. 1, buttermilk. Always have buttermilk. Overnight, 1 to 4 hours, however much time you have, the longer the better. The acidity in the buttermilk helps tenderize the chicken. The breading, here we already have crushed up Doritos. Captain Crunch has been a little more challenging. So, you know, there's probably many ways to do that. We go cast iron skillet. We'll probably do that with the Cocoa Puffs and Goldfish. So the basic process is this. Buttermilk into Doritos and get all this out of the way. They're not paying, they don't need to be seen anymore. There we go. Into the Doritos. Oh boy. Into another round of buttermilk. Second time into the Doritos. Get it as coated as you possibly can. Rest on the wire rack. Into the oil once you have them all breaded. Oil, they'll cook 8 to 12 minutes depending on how thick the chicken is, how big the chicken strips are. The other thing when you're making chicken, you'll want to pound it out as well, and we use the same hammering implement to do that. It helps make sure that the chicken cooks all the way through at an even rate. So we're going to cut here for a second. We're going to get the chicken fried up with the different flavors, and then we'll be back with some dipping sauce. All right, so we're almost done. We've learned a couple things. 1, instead of smashing it with a pan, although if you're a little more patient than I am, it might work, put it in a food processor, get it to be a much finer dust or powder. 2, Captain Crunch doesn't stick to chicken. Upside is deep fried Captain Crunch is awesome. So, accidental mistake, I should trademark because that'll be a state fair food, deep fried Captain Crunch. So that was a fail. We're about to do the Cocoa Puffs. It smells like chocolate milk is about to go in the deep fryer. Maybe that's something, maybe it's not. About 10 minutes we'll find out and we'll wrap this up. We're just finishing up our last batch here. We have the Doritos, the Captain Crunch, the Goldfish, and the Cocoa Puffs. Now there seems to be a lot of Captain Crunch on there, and that's because we actually tried to pulverize it even more into a dust to see if that would actually correct or fix the problem. And it didn't. It turns out Captain Crunch isn't really a food. It's some sort of chemical goodness, really. It's fantastic, and it tastes good deep fried. It doesn't stick to the chicken very well. So that's kind of a quasi fail. Our dipping sauce today, we'll put a link, not a link, we'll just put the recipe in the description below. Mayonnaise, ketchup, Worcestershire sauce, garlic powder, and pepper. It tastes a lot like, I don't know, a cognac sauce, I guess is what it's very close to. So while that finishes, let's go through, give them a try. So Jacob's got to learn how to do this with one hand. We will start with Doritos. You want me just to cut it in half and we'll each do the half?
Just cut it in half.
All right.
I don't know that I want a full one.
Yeah, that's hard to know. All right, so there's Doritos in the sauce. Here we doink.
I would actually order that from a restaurant.
Yeah, I wouldn't. It's good. I think the Doritos too has to be ground a little bit finer, but I can't double dip.
Did you just double dip that chip?
Excuse me?
You double dipped the chip.
Double dipped? What are you talking about?
You dipped the chip, you took a bite, and you dipped again.
All right, so that one's okay.
It's the best one so far.
It's the best one so far. Probably a B. All right, goldfish. Now the goldfish, you actually take a hole in there small. The goldfish actually turned out the best color-wise. It stuck to the chicken nicely. Give that a dip.
That's the best one so far.
That's better than the Doritos. That's actually good. That's better than panko crumbs.
Well, I'm sorry, Timmy. But I don't dip that way.
Oh, you don't, huh?
No. You dip the way you want to dip. I'll dip the way I want to dip.
That's better than flour.
I would agree with that.
Goldfish is the way to go. Now, do we want to try the Captain Crunch had a little.
We can try it as best as we can, I guess.
Captain Crunch. Wow, that's the crunchiest. That's not good. Man,
That is not good.
Up at the video board, and he looks disconsolate as he comes to his corner.
that with the sauce is rough. That's not good. This though, straight up deep fried Captain Crunch though. That's legit. Now,
I thought it was done until I got to the aftertaste.
yeah, right. That's pretty rough with the mayo-based sauce and the Captain Crunch.
Now
Who would have
might be a
thought?
good time for our sponsors, A&W.
You think A&W would sponsor a Captain Crunch chicken finger? All right, so Doritos, a B. The goldfish, an A.
I'd give that an A.
That's an A. Captain Crunch is an F. But like all great inventions, Captain Crunch deep fried, that's an A. I'm a little scared about Cocoa Puffs now, given how bad the Captain Crunch is. Here you go. Get that on. Yikes. Whew. I'm a little worried. Maybe I'm gonna no, I'll dip it a little bit. The aftertaste is terrible. but it's better than Captain Crunch. Now, what does this taste like without the sauce? So that's the thing.
Oh my gosh. That's so bad.
No. Wow. Still better than No, that aftertaste is. That chocolate aftertaste is rough stuff.
That made me sweat.
Fortunately, the second round is the goldfish, and you can see they come out. Goldfish come out looking spectacular. Certainly to me, every bit as good, if not better, than breadcrumbs or flour. Now, I've had some flour batters where you can put in, a lot of different seasonings and get it to be a very sort of herb flavor, and that can be tasty too. But I would recommend the goldfish. I think with some modifications, the Doritos are certainly doable, and breakfast cereal is out. Thanks for watching us do something stupid and horsing around again. However, super easy to do. Goldfish good, Doritos good, everything else terrible, but very easy to do. This took probably, the frying was the longest part, but it's probably 10 minutes of prep and 20 minutes of setting over the fry and you're good to go. So excellent there. Thanks for hanging out. We're just horsing around. I will have another video soon.